Hello everyone. It's the early morning of Thursday. I'm starting out tonight to show you a cloud video. Watch this is pretty wild. When I was a kid, I remember we used to be able to lay back and watch the clouds, and we saw faces and different objects and angels and all kinds of things. This guy in Canada got his video camera out, and there's a storm rolling in, and he's taping the clouds. So he's getting ready to see something when he pans over here to the right, and you're getting ready to see something too. You're going to see a big ball of cloud, and you're going to see the front of it, or which would be the side or whatever angle you want to call it, right here, top of this tree. And this thing going to move left, and out of the front of it you're going to see the shape of it become like the profile of a face, and you're going to see a forehead, eyes, a nose, lips, a chin, cheeks, and maybe an ear. See it? Can you see that? That looks like somebody's raising their head and coming out of the cloud right there. Look at that. I'm just going to back the cursor off and let you watch. Now tell me that don't look like the side profile of a face. Well, what do you think of that? That looks like a side profile of a face. And he's probably going to have to change his shorts here once he gets done taping, but he's going to follow it here a little while. And then it gets so far, I've already watched it. It gets so far, and then he either can't go any farther and get the right angle, or else it starts losing its shape and form. And right about here is where you can't see it anymore. I think he's went about as far as he can go where he's walking. Probably his home or something. So, what'd you think of that? Pretty wild. I swear it looked like a face. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Well, now you did. And it's just facing clouds, or what was that? What in the world? Oh. That's some kind of something they've got for their advertisement. Bulk up. Anyway, I've been asked, and I've written back, but I've never put anything like this up. Where is Ellen, and where can I look up and see it? Everything that I've found and tried to know, I think I do, and other guys I see are about the same belief. It's supposed to be, from what I'm in the direction I'm concentrating on a lot. I mean, I'm trying them all, but I know a certain area that I'm trying more than others. And it's supposed to be northwest of Orion. So this is Orion the Hunter. You can see how it lays out and everything in the sky, and it makes it look, like a guy standing up there. And this is his bow, so this is Orion. So to go northwest, we kind of got to go catty corner. So we just come over here, and catty corner from him is Leo. No, ELENIN, well, it's consequently found in the Leo area from what everything points to. So that is northwest of Orion. So if you know your constellations and the layout of where they would be at time of day or night regarding your location, then you'll know the area and direction to point yourself in. So that's my suggestion, is keep this area around here in mind, and probably look there a little extra than wherever your favorite, or your, whatever you think. And another thing is, I think there's something behind it. And I think that's where Nibiru and all the slop that it's going to bring with it comes in. And I'm checking into some stuff, and I think we're going to probably get a little something extra with all the rest of what's coming. It does look like there's something flanking or not very far behind all this stuff. And from the things that I've been able to look at, they do look like some kind of craft. So we got a full plate. Now let's go take a look at the world. At the moment it's kind of, I hate to say lulled, just because you decrease in magnitude just a little bit for a few days, but that's what we're in. There's a little bit of a decrease, and that's needed. We needed at least a few days break. But you got a 3-1 in Colorado, and you had a 3-3 in South Dakota, and then we in Oklahoma have had a couple in the 2s. I think we had one a 2.0, and I think the other was 2.7 or 8, but they were not great magnitude ones. But it was rare to see one in the Oklahoma City area. As usual, we have the coastline of California getting peppered with 2s all over the place. There's a 3 in Mexico and a 4-1 on the 9th in Mexico. You got a couple of 2.0s over here in Nevada. And then you had a 3 in Central California on the 9th. Mainly 2s. There's a 2.5 today, the 11th, Central California. And then you have 3-4 on the 9th in the northern part of it. Washington's a little 2. You spin around and you see the Alaskan situation, and they're just peppered with, all up and down here, a bunch of 2s. And then you got some sporadic 3s here. 3-2 on the 9th, 3 on the 10th. And of course you had a 3.5 on the 9th down here. But all along that little ridge is just getting some real light shakes, if you can call that a light. I don't, but they do. And Japan has went lull here just a bit. They had a 4-8 on the 9th, and they had one here today, a 4-7 on the 11th. And I spun her down here and looked over the Indonesian situation, and they're not, well, they're getting 5s and 4s, but they're not going wild. 5.2 in Solomon Islands on the 10th. That's lower magnitude from what you're usually seeing over here, and they needed rest from it all too. There's a 5.2 on the 10th in Tonga. Tonga again with a 4.6. Fiji with it on the 9th, a 5.3. And then you have on the 11th a 5.1 south of the islands of Fiji. A 4.9 on the 10th in New Zealand. And a 5 on the 9th. So they are down somewhat. They're getting it. That's what I mean to say, is nothing has stopped, and they're getting it, but they're not getting it as harshly right now. You go up around here, And as usual, you see Puerto Rico, they're 2-9. There's a 3. There's a 3-2. Another 3. So they're getting 3'd. And on the 9th, there was a 4-4 on the Leeward Islands, and a 4.5 on the 8th on the Windward Islands. So they're getting some action there. Down here, they're not having any troubles right now. 4-8 in Bolivia on the 10th. 9th, Argentina 4-8. So Chile is not dealing with anything at the moment. Nor does it look like anything right around here. So we caught a break for the moment. Okay. And that leads me to the moon. This is the moon from the other night. And it stayed lit for a little while and didn't darken up usually at the right time. So when I came outside, I was able to catch a picture of the moon over the clouds in the daylight, and that's what it looked like. And you can see when I minimized, you can see all the other clouds that were actually under this cloud. And there's a different shot of it up there above that cloud. And you can see this one here. It's up here and see this giant. That was huge. The camera can't capture it all by far. I mean, it's just this giant, massive wall of cloud. And boy, it was rare, because when it's been hot here, that part of the problem, we haven't even had any cloud. I mean, not even nothing. You know, just sky. And then here's another picture of the Gigantor cloud. That's the way it looked. And this is the top of a grain elevator pretty far off in the distance. And there's the moon over here, way up here. And then this is the giant wall of cloud just by itself. There were more, but I mean, this one was giant, and it was over there by the moon, so that's why I concentrated on making sure I remembered to get one shot of the cloud itself. So it wasn't this night that I took the pictures of these clouds and the moon. It was a different night. They said that maybe we have like a 30% chance of getting some rain finally. So it looked like something was moving in. And about 6:30, it actually started to rain. And it was more than 3 drops. And the wind was blowing somewhat pretty good from the west to the east. And then it began raining pretty hard. And when you looked out, you could see lightning, like lightning bolts Zeus threw down, because they weren't angled or anything coming out, and they didn't have lightning arms, you know, out the sides of them or anything, crackling. It was just like one bolt. It just looked like it came straight down, was hitting, looked like it come so low that it went behind trees and stuff. It looked like it was hitting somewhere way out there. And you could see it was flashing like a strobe light from all different directions. So I walked out in the garage, different part of the facility, and I up the door and was standing there watching it, because the lightning had affected all the whole systems out there, and you couldn't, the operators couldn't operate their machinery, because every time they kept bringing it back up, the computers and stuff, then you'd get another flash of lightning and flicker, and then the system would shut down again. They kept having to repeat that, so you just wait so you won't damage anything. Anyhow, while everybody was waiting for this stuff to get over with so they could activate again and go to work, another one of the workers walked down there into the garage and was watching it with me. and it looked like it was lulling and going to be over, and we were going to turn around and go back to work. And I had just mentioned, hey, it looks like it's lulling out here, maybe it's going to stop. And probably about a minute after that, that wind was blowing out of the west to the east. And a minute after I said about the lull, it just out of nowhere just come gigantor from the north, and just whammo, this giant wall of water came along with it and just plowed, like somebody poured a glass of water and a giant breath blew on it and blew it at you. That's what happened. And then it just kept blowing like that. I mean, it was just unreal. And I made mention to him, I said, man, that wind has got to be at least 70 miles an hour now. Where's the tornado sirens at? I don't hear nothing. And we never did hear any. But when we kept watching that after it switched to the north, then it just switched everywhere. It was like it was a whirlwind of going in a circle. That's why I was waiting for a tornado alert, because they got sirens not very far from there, which never came. And it got so severe, the cars that we're driving, we could barely see them from the garage to the road in front of us, which is maybe 35, 45 yards, somewhere in there, probably about 40 yards. And the cars, what we could see, they couldn't see to drive. So they were having to go about 2.5 miles an hour, and all we could see was just, it was coming from no direction. It was just plowing itself from every direction. It just looked like a giant wall of water. I don't know how to describe it, because you couldn't determine what direction anything was coming from. All you could just see was water from every direction. And it was wild. Well, come to find out, our emergency management director here in town, local yokel, we never can get any information from, he come out and said it was straight line wind with no rotation in it, winds 72 up to 96 mile an hour. And then another article came out from a different paper in the state, and they did verify that they were 96 mile an hour hurricane force winds. And so our guy up here told us they were just straight line winds. So the question that I'm reminding people to ask is, don't just play it off that it's just straight line wind. Ask yourself what caused that kind of straight line wind. Where did it come from so all of a sudden and everything with no warning? We're not used to having storms to where the wind blows 96 miles an hour. So, like I say, things are getting freaky, and you're going to keep seeing these kind of freak storms, and you're going to see winds like this. And it did tear some stuff up. It did knock out power. A lot of people still didn't have power today, and those were in some of the better neighborhoods, the upper level home values, and they were wired for their power a little differently in their location. And there was also pictures I saw of poles that got blown over and uprooted and thrown through people's side walls of their house, crashed through the roofs of their home. Yeah, it came out of nowhere, and we didn't get like Joplin, Missouri got, but something just come out of nowhere and lasted about 25 minutes, maybe the whole thing. And then you had what you had. A lot of trees down, a lot of power down. So that's what happened storm-wise the other night, and it was very, very freaky. Very harsh wind. From what I can determine, my home didn't get damaged, but I got to give it a good comb through on the weekend when I got a whole day, a whole weekend. So, into some unrelated stuff that I'd like to mention. I read an article about the USDA, and I always knew that they were Uh, like the EPA, a corrupt organization that doesn't do anything except make things worse. Now this is an article about Oklahoma farmers and surrounding area farmers and what the USDA, I knew they could tell them some things to do, make them fall within guidelines, and I had heard they were going to make new regulations and make them do stupid things that they have no right to even delve into. And this is the gist of what I had heard, and I guess it's already effective on some parts. The USDA announced Monday that it is extending the time ranchers in Oklahoma and other drought-stricken states can graze cattle on land set aside in a conservation program. Well, thank you, USDA. Let me see that again. They announced they are extending the time ranchers can graze cattle. Well, who made the rule that the USDA could tell a rancher how long, where, or what about him grazing his cattle that he's trying to raise so that he can feed American people? Crazy, aren't they? Yes, they are. Emergency grazing will be allowed until October 31st, a month longer, without a reduction in payment from the Conservation Reserve Program. The policy change applies to farmers and ranchers who already have been approved for emergency grazing in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, and other states in drought conditions. The Farm Services Agency also will allow producers to use harvested hay from acres leaving the Conservation Reserve Program, although there will be a rental payment reduction. Well, you can't see it, but I'm giving the FD or the USDA I'm giving them the double middle finger down. They've got no right to tell farmers where, how, when, and what to graze their animals. And when we talk about a heat wave affecting ourselves, our planet, and everything, hey, it goes way down the line. I mean, it goes all the way down the line, totally. When you think about the animals, the plants, the insects, the everything is totally, they're a different level of survival than we are, so the heat is affecting them, just, killing them and stuff. As well, human beings dying from the heat also. But, when the animals don't have water, of course, obviously they get thirsty. And plants, they need water, so few plants grow. And without plants, there's fewer insects, and no insects result in low seed production. And the animals that rely on seeds and plants for nutrition, from birds to deer and antelope, well, they'll have low reproduction. And predators that rely on animals as food, they stay hungry, and they have less reproduction. So the species, as well as the ecosystem, all the way around, is affected. So it is true. Everything that goes around really does go around. So that's what I had. I wanted to tell you about that freaky storm, and I wanted to show you how the moon looked that night in them clouds, and show you the clouds did look pretty awesome, actually. Glad we didn't get a storm out of those. If they were bad clouds, there was a whole lot thicket of them that night, that day. Now, Arkansas, I wanted to mention that to you. I've been watching, and I think that did you some help when they shut those wells down over there near the Guy area. I think that's lowered the amount, and the magnitude hasn't increased in that area that I can tell. And Louisiana, to my friends down there, nobody has forgotten about you either. I'm going to check with you because you're there on location on the current water level, and I'll be talking to you about that probably tomorrow when I send you a mail. But you still got a lot of water that you're dealing with, and so you still all have to be safe down there too, and don't think that, you know, out of the woods. Everybody's holding their own. That's about all anybody can do. So be aware, we're getting closer to September, and that's going to be a big month besides of the alignments and everything. September is a big month here on the ground because Israel is the gauge on the ground. Bar nothing. Israel is the gauge on the ground. And when the UN has the vote in September and everybody makes their case and their statements and stuff and has the public arena, the world arena, that is going to be a massive statement. And that's going to be something that tells a tale. You know, what goes down in that UN meeting is all going to be another piece of the puzzle that fits into the whole month of September. And then you've got Jewish feast times coming up, and that's another piece that fits into the picture. And they all interlock. All this stuff interlocks. It weaves a pattern. It all ties together. So I pray for everyone. I wish everyone well. Good morning to everyone. You'll be getting up soon if you're not already up or just now have risen. You're in my thoughts and you're in my prayers. And I ask God to keep you safe, give you strength, and bless every one of you and protect you and keep you strong. So until next time, y'all don't work too hard. Do the best you can. And keep looking up. Remember, northwest of Orion, look towards Leo, and you'll be looking for ELENIN. Should be coming in pretty soon. It'll be looking good. You're going to be able to see it not long from now. Night, everybody.